Good evening and a warm welcome to regular webinar podcast. I'd like to introduce myself. I am Sujit Menon, working as Director Operations for Green World. Our key speaker, who's also connected online, his name is Mr. Aloysius G. Pasion. He's the Market Food Safety Manager and the Quality Pillar Leader with Nestle Middle East.
Thanks, Sujit, and thank you for the opportunity. So, what are the essential elements of food safety? I have come up with a couple of points which I feel are really essential to ensure food safety. First, brilliance at the PRP basics. PRPs is a basic foundation. If you don't have your prerequisite programs strongly in place, no matter how strong is your HACCP program, your food safety management system will fail. So PRP is a foundation. It is a pillar of your food safety management system. So if you don't have this strongly in place, or you are not brilliant in the implementation of your PRPs, your quality system and your food safety management system will crumble. So we start and we need to be brilliant at the basics. So let's now talk on brilliance at the basics at PRPs. So brilliance at the basics means that we need to have our PRPs, which basically these are the conditions or activities that is necessary to maintain food safety. So these prerequisite programs, there is a lot that you need to implement, but I will just try to highlight those that is mentioned in ISO 22000. Yeah. So basically, these are PRPs that support the successful implementation of your HACCP program. Yeah, that has an impact on the end product safety, and these are needs to be implemented. Something that I need to highlight needs to be implemented before you even start on HACCP study. I have seen companies where they have HACCP studies, but when you verify their PRPs, it's not even verified. It's not even strongly in place, and it's not even proven that it is effective. So what happens? The food safety management system or the HACCP system crumbles. Yeah. So PRP's plans, so it includes the necessary activities that create a hygienic production environment because it minimizes the contamination in your food processing facility. So what are the examples of those? Yeah. So construction and layout of your facility, the layout of your premises and workspace. So here we're talking about the flow of your materials and the flow of your processes versus the flow of how you handle your waste and how you handle your movement of your people and your PPTs or what we call your forklifts or transfer equipment. Utilities, so we're talking about your air, your water, and your energy. How are you managing it in such a way that they will not be contaminated, especially for those that is direct contact with the product? So we're talking about PRPs on waste disposal, how you manage your waste, yeah, in such a way that it does not become a contaminant. Equipment suitability, cleaning, and maintenance. So here, do you have the right equipment? Do you have the right material of that equipment? Are you maintaining that equipment in a manner that it does not provide you a physical hazard or a chemical contaminant? Are your cleaning activities strongly in place? And how do you manage it in such a way that you do not have a contamination after cleaning? Yeah. So management of purchase materials. So here we're talking about vendor management or supplier management. So here we're talking about how do we determine quality suppliers so that these materials that we use in our products are really complying with our specifications, and they at their facility are ensuring food safety management systems as well, complying with whatever specification that we have for our product. Just remember, so garbage in, garbage out. So if the supplier of your raw materials is not managing food safety at their end, then you will have a nightmare of having these hazards in your system. And then in the end, the consumer will blame you because you are the producer of the product. Yeah. So it does not happen that you just say to the consumer that, oh, because we are having a supplier that's not complying with the requirements. This is your responsibility as a food manufacturer and as a quality community. Food defense. So here we're talking about intentional hazards that can being subjected to the line, that is being provided to the line. So here you need to really have a strong food defense plan, managing those intentional hazards that can come into your facility and into your process. Other PRPs that is noteworthy that needs to be strongly in place are your measures to prevent cross-contamination. So when we say measures for to prevent cross-contamination, we're talking about your zoning measures. How do you differentiate your critical and non-critical areas, your dirty and clean areas? How do you prevent foreign bodies coming into your line and into your product? So here, do you have 3 lines of defense in how you manage your foreign bodies? Meaning you look at how it is introduced into your process to make sure that this particular foreign bodies does not become a contaminant. You look at also pathogen monitoring systems that you can implement to monitor not only your product, but you also monitor those vectors that can be carriers of your of a particular contaminant. So what are these vectors? So it can be coming from your materials, it can be coming from your environment, it can be coming from your cleaning tools, it can be coming from the air, it can be coming from the water that you use, and it can be coming from the people that is there in the line, that they are not practicing hygienic measures when they enter and when they handle the food products. Yeah. Line release. So this is activities wherein you implement a system to make sure that after each shutdown or cleaning activity, that you make sure that there is that your line is free of any contaminant before you run your product in the line. Yeah. So cleaning and sanitizing procedures are also essential. So those that is red, I'm trying to highlight it because special focus must be on this particular PRPs, because the probability of having hazards if you do not correctly or effectively implement these PRPs is very, very high. Pest control and pest management, I think this is straightforward. So if you do not manage your pests, especially for the ingress of these pests, once they come into your facility, so you're going to have a nightmare on your food safety programs. Product information and consumer awareness. So here we're talking about your complaint handling system. How do you inform your consumers, especially on the labels of the products that you manufacture? How do you enhance their consumer awareness, and particularly especially if you have a particular allergen that is there in your product? So other PRP programs that is noteworthy to mention is your rework management, good warehouse practices, personal employee facilities, and of course your what is this? Yeah, sorry. So examples of how you can manage your PRPs. This is just an example of a proper management template for your PRPs. So it is very, very important that you verify that these PRPs are managed and that they are being verified to be effective. Because otherwise, once it comes under control, it goes out of control, then you will have issues with your food safety management system, because in the end, you will be having hazards into your process, and eventually you'll have a food safety issue. So this is just an example template on how to manage it in order to track it, to document it. So you describe your PRPs with identifying what is the relevant hazard for that PRP. And then if you have a particular SOP that is implementing or provides a guidance for the team in order to execute the PRPs. So you put it there, and then of course your verification plan, identifying what, how, what's the frequency, who's responsible, what is your acceptable criteria, your corrections and corrective actions in case that there is a deviation, and of course your records. Okay.
Thank you, and have a pleasant evening.